What up, guys? James from Bolt Bros here. Big week 4 matchup versus the Chiefs this weekend. Only a couple days away from it, but we got some problems at the O line here, guys. Big miss for this team to not have our two tackles essentially in this week. So let's see kind of what this O line potentially could look like this weekend. So let's go ahead and get into it, guys. Bolt Bros, let's go. Bolt Bros. All right, guys. Once again, appreciate all the love and support too. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel if you have not. We'll constantly keep you updated with Charger subjects and news on our YouTube page and all of the standard podcast platforms out there. So once again, appreciate everything here and all you guys do for us. But once again, back to the subject. O-line here, man, oh man. Not having Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt would be a catastrophe at this point. Those are guys that have been playing at a very, very high level for us, doing extremely well for us. Obviously, Joe Alt with a MCL sprain, Rashawn Slater with a pectoral strain of some sort. At this point, it's good as a positive view of it is that these guys aren't going on the IR. You got the bye week coming up. You have some time to allow them to rest. This is where Ben Herbert is going to make his money. And this is why he's with this team now. And give a shout out a little bit to Ben Herbert on this too. We haven't had any guys that, have been significant players at this point on the IR. That's kind of a big thing. I know Chris Rump is kind of the one guy that's been on the IR and such too. Obviously, we've had DJ Shark, but it sounds like he'll be back after the bye week. But for the most part, a lot of our guys are just kind of dealing with some dings here and there on their body and a couple different small injuries. So at this point, it's not a bad situation. It just sucks because we're going into a terrible situation against the Chiefs. Now, we got players out there that we could kind of adjust and slide to a little bit around. And earlier this week, Daniel Popper tweeted out a little bit about a scenario where they worked a couple variations of the O-line during the open viewing. Zion Johnson, Bradley Bozeman at left guard and center, respectively. Jamari Sawyer at both right guard and right tackle. Foster Sorrell at left tackle. Sam Mustipher worked some at right guard. So there's a lot of shifting that they're trying to figure out here at this point. So, and I expect a little bit of that this week. I mean, we kind of have to at this point. Now, with Foster Sorrell left tackle, probably is going to be a lock at that point. I mean, he hasn't played bad, hasn't played great, but I don't know. And you cannot replace Rashawn Slater, bottom line. I mean, you're not going to replace a backup with a guy who's going to be Rashawn Slater at this point. So it's going to be a tough one to be able to see at a left tackle with Foster Sorrell. Sometimes he's looked good. Sometimes he's looked bad. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes. Now, with Bradley Bozeman at left guard and center, that's an interesting one. Shifting around him now, he's been kind of a bit of a weak point on this O-line. Everybody else around him has played well. Like, you have to go back to the Panthers game. 4 of our 5 offensive players that had highest PFF rankings were our O-line outside of Bradley Bozeman. So there's been some talks a little bit about that and kind of what potential situation could happen and develop with the whole center position. We'll see. Now, Sam Mustipher has had a lot of time and played many games as a center. So it's interesting that they're putting him at right guard. Now, I'm kind of interested to see why you're not putting out, Jordan McFadden out there too. I mean, he's been inactive for the last few games, but you kind of think, hey, he could be a guy that I thought played really, really well last year for the very few games that he played very physical. I think he would play extremely well for this team. Now, maybe they're thinking, hey, he also played a lot of fullback in the training camp. Maybe they just don't want to put him out there for that reason because they need to have another fullback if something goes wrong with Scott Matlock. I don't know. But regardless, Scott Matlock plays all over the field. So why not throw out, Jordan McFadden out there? I think he's a good, solid guard in this position. Now, personally, I would say it's going to be Jamari Sawyer on the right tackle. The right guard situation is going to be kind of something that they have to figure out at some point. Like I said, put Jordan McFadden out there. I would go with that. Now, I would probably think what's going to happen. Foster Sorrell is going to be left tackle at this point. It's going to be Jamari at the right tackle. Makes sense for him to be able to be out there. He's got a lot of tackle type experience all around. Makes sense. I think Bradley Bozeman still will be the center this week. Now, who is going to be that right guard? Now, is it going to be Sam Mustipher, who is currently on the practice squad? But then Jordan McFadden, I think, could be a great fit for that point too. So that's something that we're going to develop here with this O-line. And it's kind of a scary situation all around here. Even if you look here, the tweet, it was run back Herbo said thoughts and prayers to whoever plays quarterback. Now, once again, you do think at this point, Justin Herbert probably will be playing against this makeshift offensive line at this point. And that's a scary, scary situation too. Very scary situation to be able to see what happens there. So I know we're going into a bye week. I know we're going into a big game and everything, but it's a very scary situation to be able to see Justin Herbert behind this O-line. So he's already banged up enough, man. We can't make it worse for us guys at this point. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how it all develops with this situation for the O-line and where it's going to go. You know, even at the same token, Chargers did bring Tony Jefferson to the 53-man squad this week. So obviously, because that Derwin James penalty, it's a bunch of BS in my opinion. So going back to the O-line here, you know, what you see here is kind of what's from the depth chart from the Chargers website. You know, obviously Zion Johnson will probably stay in his position pretty much at left guard. Foster Sarell will probably be that guy for left left tackle. Bradley Bozeman probably will be the center at this point, but I mean, at the same side, Brendan Hymas did play pretty well. It's kind of ironic. We've had him on the team for so dang long, and we're finally seeing some returns from him. And could he push him for the center position? Who knows? I mean, you got to think the botched snap that Bradley Bozeman had, he's just playing at a very low level. His PFF is well under 60. Not looking good. Trey Pipkins is a little bit banged up too. Are you going to keep him at right guard? Who knows? I mean, what they're doing is shifting around a lot right now in the practices up to this game. I mean, they have potential that you could put Trey Pipkins back at the right tackle where he originally was playing at. So who knows? Maybe they'll put Jamari Sawyer into the right guard position. Maybe they'll throw in, you know, Jordan McFadden. I don't know. We'll see kind of where it goes here, but this is going to be a very, very interesting situation for this O-line. It's a little scary in my opinion, but hey, we got trust on this, right? So one thing too is that there's been a lot of rumors about us going after another center here. And the big thing about it is we'll see if this really happens. I mean, once again, Carolina Panthers did have a pretty good game last week against the Raiders, right? They kind of seemed like they got rejuvenized while Andy Dalton became the starting quarterback over Bryce Young. But Austin Corbett has been a guy that has been kind of rumored a little bit for the Chargers going after. Now, Austin's been in the league for a good amount of time. I actually played for the Rams too, obviously with the Panthers at this point, and actually has been grading out really, really well as a center. So it would be interesting to see if we make that bold move at some point. Now, I don't think this move would happen anytime soon. I don't expect the Panthers to make a move at this point of trying to move on from Austin Corbett and trade him off to another team. You know, it is one of those things that, hey, let's say Andy Dalton rejuvenizes the Panthers. What if they're going to start getting back to their winning ways and they're saying, hey, look, man, we got a shot to keep this season afloat and we could keep moving along. I mean, Panthers do have a game against this weekend against the Bengals, who are 0-3. Like, that would put the nail in the coffin for the Bengals if they end up losing to the Panthers, and that really rejuvenizes the Carolina Panthers at this point. So who knows? But keep an eye on this. This has been kind of a news rumor-ish type thing. Maybe it's just the media kind of throwing it out there a little bit too. But Austin Corbett could be one of those guys that the Chargers could go after to be able to help out the center position at this point. So who knows if that's going to happen? I mean, this is where you think about Joe Ortiz and some of the bold moves that he might make at some point. Is this going to be a bold move that he needs to make? And to be honest, it wouldn't be a bad move in my opinion. You could kind of move around Bradley Bozeman at that point. For whatever reason, even in training camp, Bradley Bozeman did kind of have some sort of injury situations. And so he's still dealing with it at this point. I don't know. But he's definitely kind of a position that he might lose his job at this point. So we'll see what happens there, guys. But Once again, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this about the game versus the Chiefs this weekend. Big game this weekend. And this O-line really has got to make sure they keep Justin Herbert upright. And please, oh my gosh, I'm going to be watching this game with so much anxiety. Watching Justin Herbert behind this O-line, as long as he does go this game, I'm going to have so much anxiety behind this team. Now, I will say this too. The Chiefs D-line has not really been getting a lot of sacks too, by the way. There's not been a lot of sacks involved with that team thus far, but to be honest, this could be one of those games where they could eat a little bit more, especially because we have a little bit of a makeshift O-line this week. So it makes me extremely nervous to be able to have Justin Herbert if he does play this Sunday. So once again, I want to hear from you guys. Throw some comments in below about this thoughts about the O-line, kind of what the strategy could be for this O-line. And man, please just keep Justin Herbert upright. And if he plays, that is. And let's make sure we get that running game going. So quick strategy notes, that would be great for the Chargers to be able to do. So either which way, once again, guys, like this video, subscribe to this channel if you've not. Appreciate all the support and love, guys. Once again, James from Bolt Bros. Let's go.
Hey, what's up? Cameron Dick here watching Bolt Bros podcast. Let's go.
Charged up, Bolt Bros on the night.